All right, so today we're diving deep into the world of TSMC.
Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The big dog of chip making.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the brains behind the chips in like pretty much every device you can imagine.
It's true, yeah. Smartphones, laptops, probably even the device you're listening to us on right now as we speak.
Exactly. And they just dropped their latest earnings report, and let me tell you, it's making some serious waves.
Big time.
We're talking record profits. And a lot of it boils down to two words: AI, artificial intelligence.
It's really interesting to see TSMC attributing this growth directly to AI. There have been some questions about the chip industry's future, but TSMC is saying, hold my silicon wafer.
I love that, hold my silicon wafer.
Yeah.
That should be their new slogan. But in all seriousness, what kind of numbers are we actually talking about here?
Forget this. TSMC just reported their highest quarterly profit ever, $325.3 billion, or roughly $10.11 billion US dollars, which is a 54% jump from last year.
Okay, so record profits. That's huge.
Yeah.
But how much of this is actually AI-driven versus, just the normal demand for chips that go in our smartphones?
Yeah, it's not just hype, that's for sure. TSMC's CEO, C.C. Wei, made it very clear that the demand for AI chips is the real deal, and it's here to stay. In fact, they're projecting AI chips will make up a solid mid-teens % of their total revenue this year.
Wow.
Which is a significant chunk of change when you think about the size of this company.
Absolutely.
And it really highlights how rapidly this whole AI sector is growing.
For sure. And something tells me that TSMC is not planning to just sit on this gold mine. What's their game plan here?
They are doubling down big time.
Okay.
They're increasing their capital expenditure budget for 2024 to a massive $30 billion.
Wow.
And get this, they're already hinting that 2025 is going to be even bigger.
Wow. Talk about confidence. What are they spending all that money on? More factories to pump out these AI chips.
You got it. They're laser focused on building more advanced factories to keep pace with this AI-driven demand. And it's not just in Taiwan. They're thinking globally.
You mean those plants being built in Arizona?
Exactly.
That's a pretty big deal, right?
Huge. The first Arizona plant is set to start producing chips in 2025, and there are 2 more coming online in the years following.
So this isn't just about TSMC. It's about a global shift. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, for a long time, the world has relied very heavily on Taiwan for chip manufacturing.
Right.
But with all the geopolitical tensions going on, lots of countries, especially the United States, have been looking to diversify their supply chains.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these Arizona plants are like the perfect example of how that's happening.
So it's not just about, keeping up with all this demand.
Yeah.
It's about strategic positioning on a global scale.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's zoom in on these Arizona plants for a sec. What's the significance of this move, and what does it mean for U.S. manufacturing?
Well, for one, it's a huge sign of confidence in the U.S. economy. TSMC is investing billions of dollars here, bringing thousands of jobs.
Yeah.
But it's bigger than that. It's a major step towards a stronger U.S. semiconductor manufacturing base.
Which is obviously super important these days.
Absolutely crucial in this tech-driven world we live in.
So it seems like a win-win for TSMC in the U.S. But what about Taiwan? Are there any concerns there about, this shift away from Taiwan being the main hub for chip making?
That's the big question being debated in Taiwan right now.
Oh, interesting.
Some see it as a potential threat to their economic security.
Right.
But others see an opportunity, a chance to kind of move up the value chain and focus on even more advanced technologies.
So many different angles to consider.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how this one company, TSMC, is caught in the middle of so many global trends. Technology, geopolitics, economics. It's really kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah. But okay, let's get back to the article for a minute. This article also talks about some interesting stuff about TSMC's capital expenditure plans and their long-term outlook.
Right.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, TSMC is projecting something like close to 30% revenue growth in U.S. dollar terms for 2024. 30%. That's insane.
Right.
Especially for a company as huge as TSMC. That's like startup level growth.
It's massive. It just shows how much confidence TSMC has in the future of AI.
Yeah. I remember some analysts were saying that the chip industry was going to slow down, but it seems like TSM is saying, nope, we're just getting started.
Exactly. They're putting their money where their mouth is with these big investments.
For sure. It's not just about keeping up with what we need today. It's about anticipating what we're going to need tomorrow.
Precisely. And that brings us to a really important part of TSMC's strategy, innovation. TSMC is already looking ahead, investing a ton in R&D to stay on top.
It's pretty incredible when you think about the complexity involved.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about transistors that are just a few atoms wide.
It's wild.
Like science fiction is becoming a reality right in front of us.
Yeah.
But it's not just about making things smaller, right? It's about developing new types of chips specifically designed for AI workloads.
You're right. We're talking chips optimized for machine learning, deep learning, all those AI applications.
So these chips are like specifically built to handle these massive amounts of data that AI needs.
Exactly.
The engines that are powering everything from self-driving cars to, even personalized medicine.
Right.
It's like we're on the verge of a whole new era of computing.
It really is.
But with all this focus on TSMC, it's easy to forget that they're not the only game in town.
Yeah.
What about the competition? Are there other companies trying to get a piece of this AI pie?
Yeah, that's a great point. While TSMC's ahead right now, they're not alone. Companies like Intel and Samsung are investing billions to catch up.
So the competition's heating up. What are they doing to catch up to TSMC? What are their strengths? What challenges are they facing?
Well, Intel's really trying to get back on top of their manufacturing game, They've been spending a ton of money building new factories and developing their own advanced manufacturing processes.
Right.
So they're really betting big on catching up to TSMC and maybe even overtaking them in terms of like pure tech.
So Intel's strategy is to fight fire with fire, basically. Go head-to-head with TSMC on their own turf. What about Samsung? They're a big player too. What's their angle in this whole AI chip battle?
So Samsung is interesting because they've got their own foundry business, which means they actually manufacture chips for other companies too.
Oh, right. Like even for some of TSMC's competitors.
Exactly. And on top of that, they're also a leader in making memory chips, which are super important for AI systems. So they're coming at this from all sides.
So it sounds like we've got like a multi-front battle going on in this world of AI chips. TSMC might be winning right now, but they've got some serious competition right behind them. What do you think this means for the industry as a whole? Is it going to be like a one-horse race, or are we going to see things even out a bit?
That's the big question, right?
Right.
And the honest answer is, it's hard to say for sure. I mean, TSMC's in a really good spot right now, but this industry changes so fast.
For sure.
Intel and Samsung, they've got the resources and the drive to catch up. And you never know. Someone else could come out of nowhere and shake things up completely.
A disruptor.
Yeah.
That's always a possibility in this industry. It's not just about who's got the coolest tech today. It's about who can keep innovating and keep up with the AI world, which is moving so fast.
Absolutely.
A lot of pressure. Out of all of this, what stands out to you as like the most important thing we should be taking away from this whole TSMC situation?
You know what I think is so fascinating is that this isn't just about like chips and circuits and stuff. This is about a fundamental change in how our world actually works. TSMC's success and this whole race to be the top dog in AI chips, it shows us that we are living in a time of like unbelievable technological progress.
It really is mind-blowing.
And AI is at the center of it all.
When you think about how AI is already changing everything around us, like transportation, healthcare, and now with TSMC, we see how it's impacting the tech that makes everything else possible. It feels like we're just scratching the surface here.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts for our listeners today? What does this all mean for them?
TSMC going all in on AI, it's like a wake-up call. We're not talking about some sci-fi future anymore. AI is here right now, and it's only going to get bigger. So the question everyone needs to ask themselves is this. Are you ready for a world driven by AI? What skills will you need to adapt? What new opportunities will be out there? These are the questions we all need to be thinking about as we enter this new era.
That's a great place to wrap up. That's some really thought-provoking stuff there as always. Thanks for breaking it all down with us.
Anytime. Happy to be here.